Next up, we have from Haymarket, Virginia, Ms. Sydney King, majoring in philosophy with minors in leadership and political science. She has served with Riverside Hospital and, as some of our Bonners do, forged her own path. Sydney has just a passion for working with resettled families with refugee status in our area. So she actually blazed a trail and served for the last 3 years with Hampton Roads Refugee Resettlement Services. Welcome to the stage, Sydney King.
Yes, Noah and I did interview together, and another interesting fact is that Claire and Brandon interviewed together, and I think the probability of that is so small. I think we really were meant to be together. Okay, so good evening. My name is Sydney King. It's hard even to know where to start telling you what I've learned, so I went back to the beginning, and I reread my application essays for CNU and for Bonner just to get a sense of why I wanted to come here in the first place. It was a good reminder of how my goals have changed, and definitely evidence of how my writing has improved. But one thing, thank you, but one thing was still clear. I wanted to be involved with public service then, and I remain devoted to public service now. I wanted to go to a college that would prepare me for public service as a career, and CNU, and especially the Bonner program, were exactly what I was looking for. My major has changed, my specific career aspirations have changed, but the one thing is the same, and that's my devotion to public service. So what does that mean? My whole life for the past 4 years has been an attempt to figure that out. I began volunteering my freshman year with the Boys and Girls Club down the road. I learned a new neighborhood of Newport News, how to work with kids. Then I became involved with refugee relief. I was assigned to teach a family of 6 English in their home, so I met with them multiple times per week. And they always asked me to stay afterwards for lunch, and I think I learned the most staying after and eating lunch with them. And this is an example of one of the lunches I just took before we had eaten. We did have tea while I was teaching, but we had lunch afterwards. With the support of the CCE, I established a team of CNU students to serve the refugees weekly. We ran a children's group together, engaging in conversational English, arts and crafts, and cultural activities. My Bonner journey is slightly less linear than some of my cohort mates. I also volunteered at Riverside Hospital in the mother-baby unit, caring for new parents and their babies. I traveled to Richmond with the hospital's lobbyists to advocate for that year's legislative agenda, and I met a CNU alum who was then serving in the state legislature. After really digging my hands into direct service, I started thinking more deeply about what service is. Can volunteering really be altruistic? I'm only one person, so where am I best able to serve? The Bonner program let me explore those questions in a number of ways. I changed my major, now studying philosophy, religion, and political science, took pilgrimages to Tennessee, DC, Baltimore, Philadelphia, all to understand service more broadly and in different contexts. At home in Newport News, I ran the One City Marathon, literally covering 26 miles from the top of the city through the CNU campus, past my freshman dorm room, all the way down to downtown, which gave me a new perspective and understanding of the place that I live. It's something I absolutely would not have done if not for the support of the Bonner program to serve and explore in very creative ways. I was an election official for 2 elections in Newport News, and most recently I took a job as a varsity swim coach at a local high school to get to know the recreational community and the educational situation better. One of the great things, this is another picture of me coaching. One of the great things about Bonner is that we're not meant to keep this knowledge, this deep understanding of community to ourselves. We're meant to share it. That's why we do the presentations of learning. My close relationship with the Afghan family that I taught English to inspired a case study project on effective refugee integration. I presented it in Ottawa, Canada, and spoke about it with a former Canadian Prime Minister, which was very cool. I traveled to Geneva, Switzerland to present on community-based, this is in Geneva, right outside of Geneva, but in Switzerland, to present on community-based HIV response in Myanmar. And with the expertise that I had gained in Bonner, captained the first place team at the conference this year. I presented on this stage for the celebration of Martin Luther King Day, and with 3 other Bonners organized a diversity, equity, and inclusion series with almost 20 other universities, and some of those logos are on the screen. So what is public service? That was the original question, and it's an important one that Bonners have to face as we leave the program. How will we integrate this college service into the rest of our lives? So that's the question. I took a Greek language course at CNU, and this is a picture of my homework just to prove it and to give me some credibility for what I'm about to say. There's a Greek word, litos, and an ending ergos. Litos translates to public, to public, and ergos translates to service or working, public service. But together, those words make the word liturgy, litos, ergos, liturgy. This is the liturgy I'm used to, a divine liturgy in church, a liturgy of God's word, and a liturgy of the Eucharist. But it means public service too. The word liturgy literally means public service. The integration that I saw, the answer is that I want my whole life to be like a liturgy, centered around the word and the Eucharist, but serving people with charity, the true virtue of charity, not just transactionally giving money or time. I said that it's hard for me to express 4 years of love and growth and incomprehensible friendship into just a few minutes. Sometimes I look from the outside, though, and I get to see just how much I've been loved by these people and by this school. I get to see how happy I am to be around all of these guys. It has been quite a journey, a lengthy pilgrimage, but the view has been great, and there's no one that I'd rather have driving and leading us than you, V, and you, Jesse, just like you were in this van. And there's no one I'd rather be all cramped together with, even if all of you have very strange playlists on the ride and are throwing things at each other in the back of the van, which was happening when I took this picture. I'm going to miss this so much, and I love you guys so much. Thank you to my family, V, Jesse, Carolyn, Brad, oh my goodness, the administration. You've changed at least one girl's life, and I think you've changed a lot more. Thank you.
And now you might not be surprised to learn that Sydney won that Martin Luther King oratorical contest that she had a picture of in there. One of my most favorite memories of Sydney is she just shows up in my office and plops down on my couch and she says, "So, you want to present at ILA with me? The International Leadership Association Conference is a big deal." Sure. She then proceeded to show me her full proposal and ideas. I did nothing. I showed up and did the presentation with her. And the other thing about Sydney, you are also one of my favorite people to be stuck in some sort of vehicle with. We were in I think really under a haunted bridge somewhere in very rural Virginia at one point, and she and I shared a kayak in Puerto Rico, and how we didn't take an eye out with mangrove trees in pitch blackness. I don't know, but you will always be my first call for a co-pilot. Thanks, Sid.